Hey guys, welcome back to the Laid Back Homestead. I'm Crystal, and today we are starting our first round of fall seeds. And if you are interested in an unconventional way to start seeds, or kind of like what I call my seed hack, stick around to the end of the video. I'll show you that last. But first, we're going to get into what varieties I'm growing, what I can plant right now, and yeah, so let's get started. Alrighty, as you can see here, as a good little gardener, I went ahead and I pre-labeled all of my little pods that I'm going to be filling, and I'm going to go over the varieties of what I can start now. And I had left my flowers sitting in water, and wouldn't you know, I have a whole bunch of volunteer. It looks like zinnias coming up, so go ahead and plant them out later. But I want to go over the different varieties that I am growing this year. And where I'm at, I have to stagger my fall vegetables, so I can only start so much at one time. So first things I want to start with is actually my fall tomatoes. So the way that I'm going to be doing this for fall, I do this sometimes in the spring, but mostly for fall, I'm actually going to just be broadcast sowing some of these seeds from my packet. Excuse me, I have like a throat problem today. First one I'm going to go ahead and do is our black brandy wine. And I had great success this year with it. This is the only slicer that I'm going to be doing in the fall because I had a ton of them, and this will be for fresh eating only. Whoa, it's a lot of seeds. So I'm actually only gonna do, I think that's about 5 seeds right there. And they're all gonna go into this 1 cup. And if they all 5 come up, then I will up pot them accordingly. And I'm just kind of spacing them around the cup. Nothing too dramatic here. You can hear, I think that's all the cicadas in the background. And this is just some regular old potting mix that I'm starting in. I do have a soilless hack that I'll show y'all at the end if you want to start seeds but you don't have any potting soil, no problem. So I'm only growing 1 type of grape tomato for the fall, and that's of course Bread's Atomic Grape. It's by far my family's favorite. I am actually using up some seeds from 2020. So I may plant a few extras of these. These were like the original Breads. Just gonna sprinkle them on the top and then lightly push them in. That's all I'm doing. The soil is already pre-moistened, so just go in, dab them down. One of my main objectives this fall was to grow more paste tomatoes because I put up a ton of marinara sauce already and ketchup and tomato paste and barbecue sauce, but I did not, I don't know why, I did not do any salsa. So I am going to go a little heavier with the sauce paste varieties, I'm sorry. So I'm doing the giant garden paste, which did phenomenal. First time growing it last spring, absolutely phenomenal. The cream sausage. Now this one also did phenomenal, but this was my second year growing it. My first spring growing it didn't do nothing, but I had good luck this spring, so I'm going back in for fall. And then this was new to me too, the red sausage variety. That one also performed well in my yard. And this one is the Red Pride. It's a bush variety. I did not grow this in the spring, but it can handle cooler temperatures. So I figured it may be a better variety in the fall. Not that it's cool here until, if I'm lucky, November. So let me get those in, and then we can talk about the actual fall vegetables that I'm starting today. I follow the LSU Ag Planting Guide for my area in Southeast Louisiana, which is southern part of the state. And so there are certain things I can start right now as of August 1st, which technically is July 31st, but don't tell anybody. I don't think the seeds will be able to tell the difference between today and tomorrow, considering nothing is changing in the forecast. But I wanted to kind of just get a head start on what I can grow, because a lot of these things I'm going to have to do succession sowing throughout the season. And honestly, I can really grow all winter long. Last winter was the only winter that I had an issue, and that's because we got 10 inches of snow in January, and it took out a lot of things because I didn't really protect things. I didn't know what to protect. That's an anomaly here. So I'm not too worried about that. That was supposedly every 130 years, maybe we'll see snow like that. So shouldn't happen again in my lifetime, but we'll see. So some of the things I'm allowed to start today is celery. Now, celery, I am going to actually broad sow that as well into a cup, because celery needs light to germinate. And this one is the, I don't know if I said it, but the Golden Boy. It supposedly has like a yellow hue to it. I don't know if you can see, but celery seeds are tiny. So you just want to put these sprinkled on top. You don't want to bury them. They do want light to germinate. Now, anything that requires light to germinate can be, in my experience, kind of a pain to keep moist. But that's why my seed starting hack at the end kind of comes in handy for seeds like that. One of the things I can start right now, which I'm super excited about because I absolutely love it, is broccoli. And I'm going to show y'all, okay? This one is a hybrid. It's broccoli gypsy. And I have another hybrid, broccoli green magic. Green magic, I believe, is recommended for my area as a hybrid because our growing seasons are just so random. And then I do have an heirloom, Rasmus. I struggled for years to grow broccoli. My climate is very difficult. However, if you also struggle to grow broccoli, there are some things I've learned. 9 out of 10 times if you buy generic broccoli seeds, you're gonna get, I think it's the Waltham variety of broccoli, but it's an heirloom variety. And the problem is, though, it's really only genetically meant to make heads that are 3 to 4 inches across. And for years, I would grow it and get so frustrated because I'm like, why is my broccoli so small before it goes to seed and flowers? Well, it turns out it was the variety. So if you are struggling to find a large head variety, by all means, make sure you're aiming for a variety that specifically mentions, and it doesn't have to be a hybrid. This one, I think, is supposed to be a large head, and that's an heirloom. But you want something that specifically says large head variety without a focus on the offshoots. A lot of times they'll word the variety like, oh, vigorous offshoots after you get the head. My experience is the head will be smaller in the beginning and then you'll get more side shoots. But that's not really what I want. I want one large head. I'm not that worried about side shoots. That's not a concern for me. If you're struggling, pay attention to your variety that you're picking, because that was my problem for years. And I mean, I grew these broccolis across dirt beds, hydroponically, buckets, you name it, anything I could do to babysit it, and I still had the same issue across the board. But that's because it had nothing to do with the growing medium or my climate. It simply was the wrong variety. So moving right along in the same family, I can also start cauliflower. Again, I talked a lot about the varieties of broccoli. Cauliflower tends to be a little bit hardier for my zone, so it doesn't seem to be as big of an issue, but some varieties still do better than others. So this year I am trying out the amazing cauliflower. First year growing that, super excited. I have a hybrid cauliflower de purple. So I grew a purple variety and it did okay. Not great. I'm thinking maybe a hybrid, I'll get a larger, what's the word? Head of cauliflower. Okay. I do know how to talk, I promise. So I also have another hybrid, cheddar. This one makes an orange head. Haven't grown that variety yet, so we'll see how it does. And then lastly, I have the Snow Crown. I did grow these last spring, winter into spring, and they did fine, minus the ones I lost to snow damage. So let me get these in, and then I'll move on to my last batch. My last category that I can start seeds in is Chinese cabbage. So I'm doing the Hilton and the Granat. These, I can't start regular heads of cabbage yet. It's still too hot. I think I can start them in 2 weeks, but the Chinese cabbage I grew for the first time, not last spring, but the spring before, and it did phenomenal, and it lasted well into the heat of spring. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to handle the heat into the fall. At least that's the plan. And I didn't have a lot of pest pressure with them. So some cabbage is better than none, you know what I mean? So you can see I have my tomatoes and celery down there. And then I have my brassicas and cabbages right here. I still have 3 empty rows that I can do something with. Right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of mist this in. Okay, my hack for seed starting, if you don't have potting mix on hand and you want to get some seeds going, or if your potting mix is not great, which mine is not, full disclosure, it's not. It's very woodsy. My germination rates may be slow, but because my growing season is so long, I don't stress about it. With that being said, and if you can see in there, cotton balls. Cotton balls are a great way to start seeds. I have done this several times. It's really no different than starting seeds in like an arrow garden type of situation. Some seeds, especially seeds that need light, this is perfect. Sprinkle them on here, and then you can transplant them out into your yard once they come up. Or if they need darkness, I have strips of black felt that will lay on top of it. I do the same thing for my arrow gardens inside. But for something like this, I could easily just take the bottom tray, put it on top, and it would provide the darkness that the seeds need. So I'm actually going to go ahead and start some of these same seeds that we started in our dirt in cotton balls, and we'll run with this experiment. I did do this, full disclosure, last year. I know it works, but I want to test it out. Last year I did it hydroponically, whereas I just took the whole cotton ball, put it in my hydroponic system, and it was golden. But I also want to try experimenting putting it in soil, because I think the cotton ball will help maintain moisture, especially if you live in an area where you don't get a lot of rain, or you just don't have like drip or irrigation or something like that. I think this would be beneficial. So I'm gonna give it a go this year. So I went ahead, you can see, I have 1 seed per cotton ball. Some of these varieties, the hybrid varieties that I planted, they really only had like 8 seeds in them. And after I put them in the dirt, it just wasn't worth it for me to hold on to these packs for, 2 measly seeds. So I have the rest of those in there. So I have 6 cauliflowers and 6 broccolis going, and we will follow along with this journey. So if you've never given this a try and you are up to experiment with me, give it a go. Well, I don't know if you can tell based off of the glistening, it's pretty hot here. So thank you all for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and give it a like. And if you're into, homesteading, gardening, preserving, cooking content, I encourage you to subscribe. And until next time, stay blessed.